Private Mission switches to the outside to try her again. 6 back to Dynasty of her own. They're in the final furlong, and Edgeway is by herself, and she is just cruising through the stretch. Edgeway turns the Las Flores into a one-mare affair. It's all Edgeway, galloping home by a half dozen. Private Mission clearly second best, and then Dynasty of her own. Number 3, Edgeway was. They're in the gate. And they're off. Dynasty of her own bounces out right on top. Private Mission, Edgeway in between them, and Aloha Kitten with absolutely no early speed trails. Private Mission will take it right to Edgeway, and in fact, she's in front, heading toward the half-mile pole. 3 more, Dynasty of her own third, and then at least 10 to Aloha Kitten. They pass the half-mile pole. Private Mission leads it by a head. Edgeway up alongside second. They've pulled 6 clear of Dynasty of her own, and Aloha Kitten still far back past the 3/8. Private Mission and Edgeway well clear. Edgeway makes her move on the outside and takes the lead now, quickly putting 3/4 on Private Mission, who had some fun. But now Edgeway is opening up. Private Mission switches to the outside to try her again. 6 back to Dynasty of her own. They're in the final furlong, and Edgeway is by herself, and she is just cruising through the stretch. Edgeway turns the Las Flores into a one-mare affair. It's all Edgeway, galloping home by a half dozen. Private Mission clearly second best, and then Dynasty of her own. Number 3, Edgeway was first, 1 Private Mission second. And they're off. Clampett is going straight to the front, opening up a length in a hurry, but here's Street Art cutting right into that margin, and Street Art is up to take the lead as they get to the main course. Town Boy in between horses now second. Clampett will settle in third on the outside of King Apollo. It's a gap of 4 to Make Mine Wine, Arabiata, and Divine Feminine at the back of the field. Past the half mile they go, and it's Street Art 3/4 of a length to Town Boy in second. They're followed by Clampett with a good trip, while 3 wide third, moving in right after the leader now. Down at the rail comes King Apollo in fourth. The gray is Arabiata getting into the race in fifth, about 4 lengths off the lead. It's a gap of 4 to Make Mine Wine, and Divine Feminine at the back of the field. It's Street Art, the leader at the top of the stretch. Narrow advantage over Town Boy. Clampett on the outside. King Apollo behind horses, looking for a seam, 1 from the outside and finding it now. And here's King Apollo coming with a dangerous bid, handridden right up to Town Boy, who has a narrow lead. King Apollo right to him, and King Apollo on by. King Apollo wins it going away. Town Boy second, close for third between Clampett and Street Art. Arabiata was fifth. Post time in 23 minutes. No changes. They're in the gate. And they're off. Tayed in the center with this vow takes the lead. Stoic Luna is on the inside of Wild Arch, smooth like butter, guided over to the rail. It's with this vow, the leader, while racing well off the fence. Stoic Luna comes through on the inside to be a clear-cut second, joined now by Tayet. And those two stride for stride in the second spot. A gap of 4 back to Wild Arch and Smooth Like Butter. About 6 lengths covers the field. Onto the backstretch they go. And with this, Val leads it by a length while snugly in hand. Tayet second, 2 more back to Stoic Luna, who's guided to the outside in third. Another 3, Smooth Like Butter, is making early headway, and Wild Arch is being eased at the back of the field. Number 2, Wild Arch eased. Half mile left to run. With this, Val, the controlling speed, maintains a length and a half edge on Tayet second. Then Stoic Luna in third. Another 3 back to Smooth Like Butter as they have 3/8 of a mile to go. And with this, Val trying to fend off the bid from Tayet, who's within a half length. With this, Val goes on with it. Tayet still second. Stoic Luna 3 off the pace. Smooth Like Butter, they turn for home. With this, Val, Tayet still pestering up alongside. They'll arrive at the 8th pole right together. With this, Val and Tayet. Smooth Like Butter takes third. Coming to the 16th pole, it's With This, Val and Tayet. Tayet on the outside gets the edge in the final stages. With This, Val trying to respond. Tayet now edging away, and Tayet wins by 3/4 of a length. With This, Val second. Smooth Like Butter finished third, then Stoic Luna. They're in the gate. And they're off. Awkward Morning stumbled at the start. Thrive is sent hard for the early lead. And on the inside, Big Event tries to match strides with Missing Maurice close up at the rail in third. They're followed by King Rob fourth, about 2 lengths off the favorite. Another length back to Cross Indian the Gray, who inches up. A gap of 4 then to Whiskey Vision, Mongolian Bonus, Awkward Morning second to last, and Sink trails. Onto the backstretch they go, and Thrive sets the pace, and he's all alone up top, in front by almost 3 lengths. King Rob clearly second, another 2 to Big Event, Cross Indian on the outside, and Missing Maurice at the rail. Then Whiskey Vision and Awkward Morning, 3 in front of Mongolian Bonus, Sink at the back of the field. Half mile to run, Thrive to catch, and he lets it out a notch, in front by almost a half dozen now. King Rob cuts that down to about 4 into the far turn. At the rail, Big Event is losing ground steadily. A 4 wide, Awkward Morning is trying to get into the race, has 7 to make up. Behind this group is Missing Maurice. They're approaching the quarter pole. It's Thrive clear by 3. King Rob second by the same margin. Whiskey Vision on the outside. Missing Maurice tips out. They're at the top of the stretch, and Thrive with a 3-length advantage still. King Rob has been trying hard in second, but making no impact. On the outside, it's Whiskey Vision, followed by Big Event, Missing Maurice, and all the others. Thrive, far too good. Opens up at will. Thrive, just a stroll in the park today, overwhelms the competition by 7 lengths. Second went to Whiskey Vision. Then it was King Rob and Missing Maurice in a photo, and in behind them, Cross Indian tried to complete the super high five. They're in the gate, and they're off. She's So Nice is quick. Miss Fia didn't break all that alertly, but is moving up to take second. Big Sweep in between horses third. Then it is Royal Address, and California Kook will do her best running later. Down the hill they go, and She's So Nice, uncontested on the front end, has it by 2 lengths. Miss Fia is second by the same margin. Royal Address, Big Sweep, side by side, and California Kook just a length behind that pair. It's She's So Nice heading toward the quarter pole with a 3-length advantage on Miss Fia in second. Royal Address clearly into third. At the rail, Big Sweep has 5 to make up and 2 in front of California Kook. They're coming to the quarter pole, and She's So Nice has been left alone on the front end. She's in front by 3. Royal Address starts to kick in smartly now in second, and down at the rail, Big Sweep. Miss Fia is next, and California Kook inside the 8th pole. She's So Nice. Big Sweep at the rail, and Royal Address. 3 of them line up for the wire. Royal Address and Big Sweep square off. Royal Address, Big Sweep, Royal Address, Royal Address beats Big Sweep. Photo for third between She's So Nice and Miss Fia. Golden Hour Double begins with race 8, post time in 28 minutes. We're set. And they're off. Snark and Scenic Masterpiece, the first 2. Here's Topolina flashing that zip from along the inside, and she's now dueling with Snark. As Scenic Masterpiece sits in a good spot, 2 off them in third. At the rail, it's Money Baby. Yadiyama is racing in between horses, and outside of that pair is Vivando, only 4 lengths off the lead. 2 more to Countess Rosina, and at the back of the field, Violent Runner. Topolina takes him into the far turn with Snark 3/4 back in second. Then Scenic Masterpiece, Vivando in the green on the outside. At the rail comes Money Baby, passed now by Countess Rosina, and Countess Rosina making a nice move on the outside all the way to take third as they come to the quarter pole. Topolina's been there throughout. Snark, Countess Rosina on the outside, then Scenic Masterpiece and Vivando. They straighten up, and Topolina opens up 2 lengths now. On the outside, Countess Rosina, though, means business, and she's let loose, just trying to drift in a bit. Snark going with her late. Countess Rosina and Snark. Countess Rosina. Countess Rosina wins convincingly. Snark was second. Photo for third went to Scenic Masterpiece. Then it's a photo between Vivando and Topolina. 0.19 seconds.
Have you seen the field sizes this weekend at the Great Race Place? Obviously, you've looked at the past performances for today, but what about tomorrow and Sunday? And most importantly, tomorrow, as you might or might not know, mandatory pad on the 20-cent Rainbow Pick Six. That's going to be a fun day, and of course, full fields means a lot of action, a lot of fun, and that's what we have. So, just a tip of the cap to the racing office. They put together a very spectacular card of weekend racing here at the Great Race Place, and of course, the weather is spectacular as well. But as you often hear me say, we couldn't put on the show without the support of the trainers and the horsemen. And obviously, our horseman today supports the entry box from coast to coast. His name, Bob Hess. Bobby, welcome to the seminar. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Great to be here. It is a great day, isn't it?
It sure is. It feels like summer in March, that's for sure. We're in the middle of March Madness. Now, our beloved UCLA Bruins got the W yesterday. It wasn't pretty. They were kind of struggling with Akron all game long. They got the W. They advanced to play tomorrow up in Portland, Oregon. You must be a college basketball fan, being a graduate of Stanford.
Stanford wasn't that good when I was there. Then they got good for quite a while, and now they're back to kind of reality. But it's fun watching college basketball. It's actually probably second to baseball, one of my favorite sports. And yeah, I'm a fan of UCLA as well, and their coach Cronin.
Mick Cronin, of course, a horse player as well. So good luck to all the Bruins. You talked about Stanford. Did you play baseball at Stanford as well, Bob?
1 year, freshman year, didn't play much. Some injuries, wasn't really good enough. That was in the 83-4 season. And the guys actually came in with won the World Series in '87. That's the year I graduated. And then again in '88. Some notable name guys on the '88 team were guys like Ed Sprague. He played for the Blue Jays. Jack McDowell, he ended up with the White Sox, I believe. And a bunch of other good guys. And actually the head coach there now is a friend of mine, Dave Esker. He graduated in '87, was a coach at Berkeley for quite a while now. When Marquez retired, Dave got the job.
Now, Stanford, a very elite university, and of course, you come from a horse racing family. Did your dad encourage you to go to school? Was this something you did on your own? How did that kind of all transpire?
Well, I'm the oldest of four, and my parents, they both graduated high school. That was it. Real hardworking, salt of the earth people, and it wasn't even discussed. It was just assumed that the four of us would go. My brother and I went to Stanford. My sister Erica went to Berkeley, and my little sister at University of Kentucky.
Unbelievable. Very, very prestigious universities. Now, on a much sadder note, unfortunately, during the COVID era, we lost your dad. That's tragic, of course, because obviously it's a disease that nobody knows is coming. Obviously, that had to hit your family hard. But the good news is your mom is doing well and has persevered through all of this.
She's a strong lady, the oldest of 12, kind of had to raise herself, raise her siblings. It wasn't the greatest childhood for her. From Mexico, got lucky. They both did by meeting each other, my parents, and they were married for, I guess, 56 years or so. And she's a strong lady. She's actually living with my sister, Anna, and all my siblings and the nieces and nephews all live within 15 miles of each other in Northern California.
Family first. That's the most important thing, way before horse racing, that's for sure. But of course, horse racing is your life, Bob. And I talked about supporting the entry box. You support the entry boxes from coast to coast. So far this meet, you've run 39 runners here at the Great Race Place. You've run 40 runners at Gulfstream Park. You're even dabbling at Tampa Bay, where you have a runner entered coming this Sunday. You've also run a few runners up north at Golden Gate, which is where your dad plied his trade. Why do you run runners from coast to coast? Why not just in one central location, either Florida or Southern California?
I'll answer that in a moment. But when Del Mar hits, Del Mar and then the fall meet here and then back to Del Mar, will be probably 90% Southern California. There's more racing, four days a week, better fields. The purses are good here, so that's not really a qualm, but races tend to feel a little better in the summer and here in the fall as well. So we'll get them out of there. In South Florida, with five racing days a week, 3 different surfaces, the new Tappet as well, it offers more options. And the purses aren't the greatest, but it offers my clients more options. So right now we're trying to place the chess pieces where they belong, and then come summer we'll bring them all back here and hopefully have a big Del Mar.
We've got plenty of options whenever we have Bob Hess as our seminar guest. We're going to ask Bob who he likes on today's 9-race card. But before we do any of that, let's toss the microphone over to track announcer Frank Miramati and get the early changes on today's Friday's card here at San Anita.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Santa Anita Park. The track is fast, the turf is firm. Rail is at 30 feet on the turf. Here are the changes. No changes in the first, start of the early pick 5. In the second, scratch number 2, every number 2, every step of the way, scratched out of race 2. No high 5 wagering in the second. In the third, number 1, Tucker's Tribute, £1 over. Turning to the fourth race, we start the Rainbow Pick 6. 358,000 in the jackpot pool for a single ticket winner. Number 6, Swirling, £1 over. Fifth race starts the late pick 5. Just that blinker note. In the sixth, number 2, Everly's Girl, £2 over. Late pick 4 starts with race 6. In the seventh, scratch number 1, La Vie, race 7, scratch number 1. In the eighth, scratch number 1, Awesome Charge. The Golden Hour pick 4 will start with today's 8th, and with that scratch of the morning line favorite, we do have a revised morning line. And in the ninth start of the Golden Hour double, no scratches or jockey changes. Enjoy your afternoon here at Santa Anita Park. Post time for the first is at 1 p.m. in 58 minutes. Let's go back to Quigley's Corner. Tom's special guest today is trainer Bob Hess Jr.
Welcome back. We're talking horses with trainer Bob Hess. He's got 3 runners in on today's program. He's also got one in at Tampa Bay over the weekend. He also ran one earlier today at Gulfstream Park. He's got a racing operation from coast to coast. But we're going to focus here on Santa Anita because today's the last day you can be the only winning ticket in the Rainbow Pick 6. That's because tomorrow there's a mandatory pad. As you heard Frank Maramati say, jackpot Pick 6 carryover is now up to $358,000. But first things first, Bob, we kick things off here in race number 1 on the turf course for starter optional claiming types 3-year-olds. It's a field of 7, and of course race 1 begins the popular 50-cent early pick 5. Number 3, Kosamui is the current even money choice on the tote board off a 2-to-1 morning line favoritism. You've got one runner in here though. It's number 1, Stotland. I wanted to talk to you first, Bob, before we get your pick in the race about how you manage Stotland. So Stotland is obviously a horse that debuted at 2 down at Del Mar in November, and you actually started him out going 2 turns on the turf course. What was the thinking going into that debut effort?
The way he moves, the way he's bred, he is just 2 turns, and he's really turf. He doesn't really get over the dirt well in his workouts in the morning. So I knew he wouldn't be any good at all in the dirt, and probably couldn't sprint either. So we just gave him one. And then tried to win, but he just wasn't really ready.
Sure. He finished, as a matter of fact, 9th out of a field of 12 at 40-1.
Yeah. So
then off that fantastic effort, you decided to go into a graded stakes race, the Cecil B. DeMille, a grade 3 event, Thanksgiving weekend down at Del Mar. Same distance, same surface. What went into that decision?
I entered in a maiden race. He didn't get in. So now it's wait. You have La Salle for December. So now I'm waiting another 6 weeks. I figured he could get some more education. I think we maybe took the blinkers off that day because
You did.
He didn't really need them, and he really didn't run that poorly. But he really needed to be gelded. Then is what he really needed.
And you mentioned gelding, so you gave him a break until February 19th. Not only was he gelded, but he was first-time Lasix because a newly turned 3-year-old. You also dropped him into the maiden 50 level. He went off as the betting favorite that day. Going into that race, did you like his chances?
Still really wasn't training that well. The gelding had not really kicked in. He was doing okay, and I think the drop in class really was the key more than anything.
Well, let's take a look at his race on February 19th. He competed against the number 4 runner in race number 1 today as well. Stotlin breaks from the rail, ridden by Edwin Maldonado. He'll be easy to follow in this replay of his performance on February 19th.
And they're off. Brotherly Love is flashing his customary early speed. Laok Aloysius a little bit quicker in the early stages and takes the lead. Not much pace on, however. Stotland is close up and tugging pretty hard along the rail. Missing Maurice is next. Then Climb to Glory. A little bit of traffic issues going into the first turn as they start to spread out. Then it's Baldoro, who went about 4 wide into the first turn. Down at the rail, Lookout Point is second to last, and Quid Pro Quo Joe Blow trails. Around the first turn, it's Laok Aloysius, showing the way by about a length and a half. Stotland moves to the outside of him in second. Another 2 back to Brotherly Love as they head toward the half-mile pole. Then Climb to Glory and Baldoro. Baldoro moves all the way up to be a joint third. In behind them, Missing Maurice with the yellow cap as they pass the half-mile pole. Has 7 to make up. Lookout Point at the rail. Quid Pro Quo Joe Blow is outside of them. Into the far turn, still Laok Aloysius carving it out, with Stotland now putting the pressure on, a half length back in second. They've pulled 3 clear of Baldoro in third. At the rail, Climb to Glory is fourth. Brotherly Love retreating. They turn for home, and Stotland on the outside, trying to get by Laok Aloysius, who's not done. These two pass the 8th pole together. Laok Aloysius on the inside, and Stotland are nose and nose. Laok Aloysius or Stotland. Stotland, Laok Aloysius, neither giving an inch as they come for the wire. Here it is, Stotland. Stotland gets up in a long drive. Laok Aloysius did everything but win. Then it was a battle for third that
relatively
ended up
moderate, half and
going to
50 and change, 3/4 and 114 and change. But make no dispute, your horse, first time Lasix, first time gelding, was very game coming all the way down to the wire.
He was, and again, the light really hadn't turned on yet. It was just starting to flicker, and the difference, I believe, this time around, he's going to need to improve. But I think he's just a better horse. When he's galloping, he's bowing his neck. He's really actually pulling the rider. He's using his front end and hind end equally, and I think he's learned to enjoy racing, and I think he'll move forward today.
You were able to get one work into him on March 6th off that performance over the main track. You talked about how he didn't like the dirt prior to that winning performance. Did he like the dirt surface a little bit more on March 6th?
I think he's enjoying his job more. He still kind of slips and slides on the dirt, but luckily we're not racing on it.
If you had to consider a main competitor or contender in the field besides the runner you trained, Stotland, who would it be in race 1, Bobby?
I mean, I think the obvious would be the 3-horse, D'Amato's horse.
He's really on fire right now, isn't he?
Yeah, and the kid's riding well.
Yep.
I'm going to try to use him here later in the meet, and I think the 3 is a horse to beat, but I think if we improve 3-4 lanes, we might be able to run him down. 1-3-3-1
in race number 1. Before we take a look at race number 2, Bob, a question for you. You talked about maybe using perhaps Ryan Curatolo going forwards. Who makes those decisions? Is it mostly yourself? Is it a combination with some of the owners you have? Like, what goes into deciding which jockey rides which horse?
With my clients, if they have a preference, I want to know about it, either a positive or a negative. And I always ask at least my new clients, hey, is there anyone I should not be riding, or are there jockeys you favor? That because it's their horse, or they're paying the bills. Most of them kind of let me pick and choose. I like dealing with. I don't like dealing with a ton of different jockeys and agents, so I'll try to pick like Maldonado. He's good, honest, hard tough rider, and Tony Matos is a lifelong friend, so I enjoy dealing with him. Mike Ciani has Curatolo, so we're going to try to use him a bit too.
And you've got Flavian here with Brad Pegram. Did you have to beg, borrow, and steal to get Flavian on your horse here? I'm sure Brad has his pick of the litter in every race on every mount. Talk to us about that type of negotiation.
Flavian, I can't say enough good things, and Brad's awesome. Easygoing, takes care of his business, real honest. And with him, I actually tell him, hey, this is what I like. Let me know when you know. And oftentimes it's kind of last minute. Either yes, I can ride, or no, I have a better one.
Stotland 5-2 on the morning line. Currently 7-2 up on the tote board with 50 minutes to post. Let's turn the page, Bob, and take a look at race number 2. This time we're on the main track. 1 mile's the distance. 50-cent early pick, 4 time as well. Maiden claiming fillies and mares in for a $20,000 tag. Scratch the 2 leaves us with a field of 6. Number 4, Mo Connolly, is the 5-2 morning line favorite from the Steve Miotti barn, ridden by the bug boy Diego Herrera. Before we get your pick in the race, Bob, your thoughts on Diego?
It's funny. I saw a kid riding at La Salle last December, and I didn't know who it was. And I actually said, wow, that guy looks good. Looked up, and it was this rider here. So I've had actually a tough time getting him on horses, but he's riding 1-4 as this Sunday, so that'll be our first venture together.
You do have a lot of entries all weekend long here at the Great Race Place. But first things first, Bob, taking a look at race number 2. A little bit of a difficult race to decipher. Who do you like in the race and why?
Yeah, I don't know if the 3-year-olds are really going to be competitive against older.
Great point. This time of year.
I'm going to go with the 3-year-old, but I think that's still a big question mark. Although the 4-horse Mo Connolly is getting a significant weight break, being younger, and also with the bug boy. So I'm going with the 4, thinking she needs to go long. And a couple of the workout reports were pretty favorable for her today.
Let's talk about the 3-year-olds running against the older this time of year. Of course, it's kind of a necessary nuance because of the field sizes here, but you make a very good point. They're probably behind the 8 ball, both physically and maybe more importantly, mentally, running against older competition this time of year. Is that kind of your concern as well?
Well, it is, and unfortunately, we're having to run against others so that the races fill. On the other hand, if you're a 4-year-old maiden by now, you're probably not too fast.
Fair enough. A couple of 4-year-old maidens in the field that Bobby mentioned. Number 3, Sideways Suances, and the 2 runners on the bottom. Also, the 5-year-old Keep It Classy, 0 for 12 lifetime. So interesting to see, not only for today's card, but also going forward, how effective the 3-year-olds are competing against older. Race number 3, we're back on the turf course. This time, 1 mile and 1/8 is the distance. Maidens, 3-year-olds and up. $50,000 is the claiming tag. I should mention today the rails are at 30 feet, and race number 3 is a split of race number 5. It has the exact same conditions. You run a 4-year-old in here off the layoff, Bob. Number 3, Tiz Tac Toe, 5-2 morning line favorite. You got Flavian again. This is one that you took way back last year at Gulfstream Park. You thought so much of the horse, you tried him on dirt one time in the Fountain of Youth with no success. But the last few times we've seen him run, he's actually lost to some maiden special weight droppers. So those were better than average maiden $50,000 claiming races. Now that he's 4, how's he training and how's he coming into the race?
A lot better. We freshened him up. He's kind of a long, lean, sort of light-bodied guy. He's doing real well. He actually is filled out. He needed the time off. I think he's coming back at 100%, better than I've ever had him. Probably still going to need to be better because, again, the D'Amato looks tough to me with the outside horse, number 7. But I think with Flavian, if you're out here and in the paddock, in my horse, the 3 is if you're able to get a look at him, the key to him is him going through the paddock calm and cool and collected. One of the races at Del Mar where he lost, he really lost it before the race. I think when he ran 3rd or 4th, or he went to the front, and he really did not need to be in front, but it wasn't the jockey's fault. It was really the horse's fault that day.
Let me ask you a question, Bob. When you claimed him back in January of 2021, you plopped down $50,000, you and some of your owners. What made you decide to dip into the claim box that day and take him?
He's a well-bred horse. He's a big, good-looking horse. We thought he might fit on dirt. He didn't. We thought maybe he want to run all day long. So the mile and 8 today should be at the least what he wants to do. And Barkley tag, you're not going to improve one off him, but they're also going to be pretty darn healthy. And you kind of know what you're getting off of Barkley.
And that's important to you, right, Bob? Before you drop the claim tag, you also want to kind of consider the trainer as well and what their modus operandi is. There's some trainers you probably want to shy away from a little bit. There's others you might be a little bit more aggressive with based upon, some of the commentary you just said.
Yeah, and like guys like Barkley, they're wonderful horsemen. I mean, the guys taught me a lot. When I'm able to be around him on the East Coast, I can pick his brain all I want. but he doesn't really need 50 claimers, 30 claimers. His clientele really doesn't, probably, that's not their focus. So what he might not care to train, I enjoy training.
Bob mentioned that number 7, Flint Stroll in race number 3 could be his main competitor or danger. Take note if you have access to the workout reports that Flint Stroll, easy for me to say, in race 3 has been outworking or certainly working in company with number 5, Do It for Andrew in race number 9, also from the Phil D'Amato barn, who in my opinion is one of the main contenders in our nightcap. Race number 4 begins the 20-cent Rainbow Pick 6, as mentioned a couple times already. Jackpot single ticket carryover now up to $358,000. It's your last chance to be the only ticket because tomorrow everything must go. Mandatory payout tomorrow in the 20-cent Rainbow Pick 6 here at the Gray Race Place. And we kick things off today, sprinting 6 furlongs on the main track for fillies and mares, $25,000 of the claiming tag. Field of 6, number 5, Tizamaster from the Vladimir Serin barn is the 8-5 morning line favorite. What do you think about race 4, Bob?
You know, I think, I started coming to Southern California for my dad then in about 83, 84. And there was this guy.
You were a young buck back then, right? You and I both didn't have any gray hair. What the heck happened?
At least we still have a little bit. There was a guy, he was some foreigner, kind of had a funny accent, I thought. And it was Vladimir Serin. And over the last 35 plus years, that guy, he's sharp as heck.
Absolutely.
He's a hell of a horseman. And one thing I know, when he gets hot, jump on the bandwagon.
He's been hot.
Hotter than hell right now. And this is over 35 years. So when he's hot, go for it. And then when a filly is good, they're not good, they're great. And this filly's hot right now, doing really well. So I think, even though in spite of the jumping class, I hate to take 8-5, but I think she'll be tough.
And what do you think causes streakiness in trainers? Because let me just focus on Vladimir for a minute. You're absolutely right, Bob. As a gambler, when he's hot, he's hot. But also the converse is true. When he's not, he's not. And you want to stay away. Why do you think some barns kind of cycle into a good 6-month to 9-month period, then kind of cycle out of it?
I've often wondered, I think, when you're a smaller barn, not that he's super small, but like a Doug O'Neill, a D'Amato, a Baltus, Sadler, they can power through slumps, and because they have hundreds of horses, so they can just drop and get going again with a winning streak.
Kind of like a batter, just getting a single rather than hitting a home run.
Yeah, exactly. And with people, I'm kind of mid-range numbers-wise, but I don't know how many Vlado has, maybe 30, and horses run through their conditions. They get claimed, and they're hard to replace. So you might get super hot and then get them all claimed away.
We talked about Vladimir Serin saddling number 5, Tizamaster in race number 4. First off the claim, but you'll notice Vladimir dipped back in, lost for $12,500, taken back for $16,000. Now raises them up basically to the $25,000 level, enters them for $22,500. And Tizamaster's last performance, breaking from the rail, actually made Brad Free from the Daily Racing Form's Horses to Watch list. His comment that day was, this horse did everything, I should say this mare did everything but win. So certainly a winning performance. And Juan Hernandez, whose agent is Craig O'Brien, certainly doing a good job in a relatively tough jockey colony, Bob, certainly at the top of the standings.
Absolutely. And Craig's a hell of an agent and a great guy as well.
He sure is. Let's take a look at race number 5. As I mentioned earlier, this is a split of race number 3. Race number 5 also begins the 50-cent late pick 5. So we're going 1 mile on the turf course for maiden claiming. $50,000 of the claiming tag. We've got a field of 7. The runner on the bottom, number 7, World Cruiser, as a first-time gelding. There's 2 runners that exit this race, including the morning line favorite, number 4, Hollywood Hellraiser. 6-5 on the morning line from the aforementioned Phil D'Amato barn. Let's take a look at that replay. You'll hear as they cross the wire. Track announcer Frank Miramati described Hollywood Hellraiser's performance as a head-scratching ride.
They're in the gate. And they're off. Swift beginning for Got Curly in the center of the course. Rosenquist up now on the inside to battle. And Hulk has speed too. Hollywood Hellraiser is the gray on the inside of Batukan. Then comes World Cruiser and half Barber Bingy at the back of the field. Rosenquist will duel early on with Got Curly. They're 1-2. Hollywood Hellraiser moves through a joint third. Batukan in the yellow between horses, and Hulk is packed out 3 wide. It's another 2 back to World Cruiser, and half Barber Bingy is 6 off the lead. Rosenquist shows the way down the backstretch in front 3/4 of a length. Got Curly in second. They're followed by Hulk, who's having some difficulty there, big-time difficulty with the rider. And on the rail, it's Hollywood Hellraiser in fourth, about 3 lengths off the lead. Hulk needs to get out of the way. They're followed by Batukan, who's 4 lengths off the speed. World Cruiser second to last, and Half Barber Bingy. Around the far turn, Rosenquist a length and a half to Hulk in second. They're followed by Got Curly. Losing a lot of ground here is Hollywood Hellraiser, the gray on the inside, steadying and stymied as the field turns for home. Rosenquist and Ricky Gonzalez with a huge lead of 5 lengths. Hulk is in second. On the extreme outside comes World Cruiser and Half Barber Bingy, a 16th of a mile to go, and it's Rosenquist in a dominant performance. Rosenquist by 5, Half Barber Bingy closing strongly, but is second best to Rosenquist. Half Barber Bingy second. Hollywood Hellraiser had a head-scratching trip in third. Then it was World Cruiser and Hulk.
Good news and bad news, Bobby, about Hollywood Hellraiser. You can see once he got out of trouble, he obviously flew late and won the gallop out, even though he didn't change leads. That's also, the problems you have whenever you ride a bug rider. Diego Herrera certainly is very talented, as you well noted when you saw him ride in December without even knowing who he was. But so far at this meet, Diego is 5 for 76 on the turf course. For whatever reason, the apprentice riders seem to struggle on the turf, and now you see Kyle Frey taking over. Although Hollywood Hellraiser, I said, is a 5-year-old gelded maiden with 9 lifetime starts. Is today the day off that performance, or are you looking elsewhere?
I mean, it probably is. I mean, obviously it probably is, but at 3 to 5, 4 to 5, I'm going to try to beat him. And this race really isn't that tough of a race. But maybe the 7, first time gelding, very capable trainer in Eddie Truman, with a hot jockey as well. So I'm going to go 7-4, but could easily be 4-7.
Let me give you a little bit of a breeding note on number 2, Pinedale. First off the claim for trainer Brittany Vandenberg. The dam of Danish Wildcat is none other than Hollywood Wildcat. So certainly Hollywood Wildcat has both dirt and turf pedigree. Hollywood Wildcat ran 5 times on the turf course, 3 wins in 2 seconds, but of course won the Breeders' Cup Distaff as well. Danish Wildcat wasn't much of a performer on the racetrack, but she certainly has thrown some very prestigious siblings to Pinedale up to this point, including a half by the name of Danish Dynaformer, who's banked $764,000 in his career. Certainly a lot of that effort was over the turf course as well. And off the claim, you can see Pinedale worked a bullet on the main track. I'm not sure exactly what to make of that, but in a race where you think it's a bit wide open, Bob, maybe 10-1 on the morning line is another price you might want to look at.
Smart. Yep.
Let's take a look at race number 6. Begins the 50-cent late pick 4. 6 furlongs in the main track for Calbred. Fillies and mares, maiden special weights. A field of 6. Morning line favorite number 4. Bold choice from the Steve Knapp barn. 8-5 on John White's morning line. 0 for 6 lifetime. A little bit camera shy. 4 times in the money. What say you about race 6?
I'm going to go with the first timer in here. I don't really have any inside info. I didn't even notice the workout tab, what they say, but I like the Sire McLean's music, the Sire of the One Horse, and Cruel Jack. He's smaller trainer, does a great job, knows how to train a good horse, and knows how to have one ready first time out. So maybe get a little value there with the McLean's music.
We saw McLean's music break his maiden on debut very impressively. You might remember high triple-digit buyer speed figure. Unfortunately, that was his one and only race. You're very active at the auction sales, Bobby. Do you look at pedigree? Do you look at the way they move in the workouts? If you have the ability to watch any workouts, like when you go to the sales, what are some of the things you're looking at before you make the purchase?
In the 2-year-old training sales,
yeah, let's take that.
Absolutely. I actually don't even want to look at the pedigree. I'd rather see the athlete, how they move, how they breathe, hear how they breathe. Hopefully you don't hear too much, and make sure they're healthy. And then you kind of look at the book to see, 1, are they affordable? 2, what are their limitations, maybe in terms of distance or surfaces, depending on where you race. Maybe they're better on synthetic. That really wouldn't fly here in Southern California. Maybe, they like the mud. That wouldn't work here either. So you just take everything into account, but really you need the athlete.
How do you determine affordability? Because right now the market is pretty strong, of course, and maybe some horses you think might go for, let's just say, 100,000, wind up going for 200,000 or 300,000. Where do you kind of draw the line if you really, really love a horse? I mean, does it just come down to budgetary constraints?
if I really, really love one, I'm not going to compete against the Bafferts of this industry, but I can put together partnerships.
Make a few more phone calls.
Yeah, a lot more dialing for dollars. So we can make it happen for the right horse. A good 2-year-old training sale that I like is a June OBS sale because it's the last one of the year. They have to sell, and they're just more affordable. And I'd rather maybe even overpay a little for one there, maybe pay 80 instead of 60, but maybe you get a stake horse out of it.
Bob's top pick in race number 6 is number 1, Anna's Music. Let's turn the page, take a look at race number 7. Sprinting on the turf course again, 6 furlongs the distance. Fillies and mares, $25,000, non-winners of 2 races lifetime. Scratch the 1, leaves us with a field of 7. Number 6, Pistachio Princess from the Steve Miotti barn, 8-5 on the morning line. Talk to us about race 7, Bob.
Yeah, this race was kind of a mystery to me, if you will, but I kind of thought the Nap horse, the
3.
The 2 horse, the Pipey horse,
Okay.
and then the 3 horse, the Nap horse were the ones that I kind of settled on. Not really one more than another, maybe a box 2-3, 3-2.
It's interesting. Number 2, Saint Helena gets a jockey change over to Mario Gutierrez, and likewise, number 3, Roses Are Blue gets a jockey change from the Bug Boy over to Abel Cedillo. I want to draw your attention, Bob, to a trainer that I'm sure you're familiar with, and it's the trainer of number 7, Dance Lady, Andy Mathis, who primarily trains horses up at Golden Gate. You can see Dance Lady off the long layoff has been training primarily up at Golden Gate. First of all, what's Andy like as a horseman? We don't know him down here. Obviously, he's very, very competent. He wins at a 20% win clip.
My dad, he was the ultimate critic, and he has great respect for Andy Mathis, not only as a horseman, a hard worker, and a person. In fact, I have a couple horses with some of our clients that were with my dad. I have a horse with Andy right now, so he does a hell of a job. He's no dummy. He places them where they belong, and you can always count on him to do a great job.
I spent a lot of time up at Golden Gate, so I'm familiar with many of the horsemen and horsewomen up there, and Bob is absolutely right. Andy and many other trainers up there do a fantastic job, and you can see in the racing form, Andy Mathis wins at a 38% win clip with his runners coming back in excess of 180 days. Since May 8th of 2021, he's had 10 runners come back in excess of 180 days. 4 of them won. 1 of them finished second. For 5 for 10, first or second, his last 10 times he's brought a horse back off a 180-day layoff. Short on time, Bob, so we're going to go to race number 8, which begins the $1 golden hour pick 4. 6 furlongs in the main track, maiden claiming $20,000 is the claiming tag. Scratch the 1, who is the original morning line favorite. Now the morning line favorite is number 5, Speedboat, 7-2 on the morning line now on John White's revised morning line. However, you've got number 10, Head for Business, second off the short layoff, 6-1 on the morning line. Good outside post, good workout report since that last race. Kind of spit the bit coming down the lane. Expect a better performance today?
The horse, he's definitely a head case, and he runs with earplugs. He is his own worst enemy, and I was actually in Gulfstream, and I thought the horse couldn't get beat that day, and he ran horribly, and I was shocked. But when I talked to my assistant afterwards, he said the horse blew the race in the receiving barn, which is where they go before they come to the paddock.
When you say blew, in other words, mentally just lost all focus and was his own worst enemy?
Had a meltdown. And we've schooled the heck out of him, and I think he's going to fire big today. I actually had Pratt on this horse today, but then he took off to ride the 1 horse who ended up scratching. So I don't really try to bug guys like Pratt and Smith if I don't like a horse. So we lost Pratt, but Tyler Bays is more than capable, and he's ridden the horse before. So I think he'll go back to his best form today.
6-1 could be a good price. And as you see, as we're going through the pick 6 sequence, a very good sequence where there could be only tickets alive going into the last race. Speaking of the last race, we close things out sprinting 6 furlongs in the turf course. And of course, race number 9 begins the $5 golden hour daily double. It's for 3-year-olds, non-winners of 1 other than. A really good field of 8 in the morning line favorite down on the rail. Number 1, Smuggler's Run, 9-5 on the morning line. Fresh off a victory, a Calbred who could come back in this condition against Open now, Bob. What say you in the nightcap?
Yeah, actually, I don't really mind the post at all going on the turf short. In fact, I like it because I think this horse will be able to tuck right in, get a ground seaving trip, and Pratt will produce him late and get up and get the money. And just because he beat those Calbreds, he really is more than capable of beating Open Company, which I think he'll do today.
But we've also got a few horses either adding Lasix or adding Lasix and blinkers, like the 2 drawn right outside of him. Number 2, Echo Smith. Number 3, Bochambo. Bochambo coming off a long layoff. Those are difficult horses to evaluate from a gambler standpoint as well.
Yeah, but this Gary Garber's no dummy. and he bought this horse, I believe, after that probably that race,
did.
in the
He
snake
did.
race. Something went wrong, but so that hence the time off. But now they had him nominated to the Triple Crown, so they must like the way he's training. They must like, and he must be healthy too, because he had to nominate about 2 months ago for the Triple Crown. So that could be your sleeper in there.
We always like having Bob Hess as our seminar guest today. Bob, thanks so much for your time and insight. Not only good luck today, but good luck the remainder of the year, not only here in Southern California, but wherever you run around the country.
You got it. Thanks, Tom.
Thanks so much for watching as well. Good luck today. Have nothing but fun. Pick some winners. We'll do it all again tomorrow. 9 races beginning at 1 o'clock. That means the seminar starts 11:50 a.m. Pacific time. Good luck, everybody.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for our national anthem. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Santa Anita Park. The track is fast and the turf is firm with the rail on the turf out 30 feet. Here are the changes. Nothing new since our last update. First race starts the early pick 5 with no changes. No high 5 wagering in race 2. Scratch number 2 every step of the way. Pick 4 starts with race 2. In the third, number 1, Tucker's Tribute is 1 pound over. Fourth race starts the Rainbow 6, 358,000 in the jackpot. Number 6, Swirling, 1 pound over. Fifth race starts the late pick 5 with no scratches or jockey changes. In the sixth, number 2, Everly's Girl, 2 pounds over. Late pick 4 starts with race 6. In the seventh, scratch 1, La Vie. Eighth, start of the Golden Hour pick 4, scratch 1, Awesome Charge, and there is a revised morning line. Ninth race starts the Golden Hour double with no scratches or jockey changes. Enjoy your day at the Great Race Place. Post time for the opener in 27 minutes at 1 p.m.
Last of the 12 as they roll into the backstretch.
Let's pony up and play the Stronach 5. Our all-star team did. They put together a ticket, a very affordable ticket at that, with all the Stronach tracks. You see Laurel, Golden Gate, Gulfstream, and Santa Anita involved. So get going. Get your ticket.
Last of the 12 as they roll into the backstretch. Last of the 12 as they roll into the backstretch.
The opener on Friday is a starter optional claimer. It's at a distance of a mile on the turf course. We're going to look at two in here with a bullet drill, starting with Koh Samui for trainer Phil D'Amato. Now, this 3-year-old, and they are all 3-year-olds, is coming off a victory against Maiden Special Weight Company. Now, working in company here with Carpe Venum, who set off about 3 lengths in front. That's an allowance type on the rail there. And Koh Samui just swoops up and very much well within himself is able to hang along Carpe Venum here. He is taking the step forward against winners, as I mentioned, but most of the field are doing the same thing. So I think he's got as good a chance as any in here. And you can see the way he's finishing up. The rider still has plenty. He hasn't even dropped his head yet and really accelerated. So that's how easy he was going in this work on the 12th of March. Now we'll take a look at Bright Leaf, who's on the inside here. Bright Leaf was the horse that jumped to Shadow, a tire mark actually, and lost to Emily Ellingwood right before winning. Came back and ran 5th last time, going 6 furlongs. Will be stretching out this time, but switching over to the turf course. Watching the horse here, you can see he's kind of eyeballing the company to the outside of him here. With me, I'm a little hesitant as to, to know what this horse is going to do. To me, he seems like he's a little bit of a quirky dude, but he was very steady and looks like a 2-turn type, judging from that workout. So that's race 1 coming up, starter optional claimer on Friday.
Last of the 12 as they roll into the backstretch.
15 minutes to post for race number 1. On behalf of everyone here at First Racing, we'd like to welcome you to a Friday here at beautiful Santa Anita Park. Peter Lurie alongside. I love the outfit, Michelle. You
Thanks, Pete.
very much like you're ready to pick some winners.
I like it. Yes, I feel very win-centric today.
Feel it, do it. Simple as that. Our producer, or I should say our director, Robert, just said, you feeling the madness? Had to get me upset about yesterday's UCLA game. We barely pulled that one out. And I says, okay, now go. You got the energy. He's like, college basketball, she doesn't care.
Nope.
Okay. Pick 5 pool at $95,742. I know the rest of you are going crazy over the March Madness. Kentucky, what the heck? Let's talk about this. Card, $54. I go 32. We have...
No, you go 54.
I
go 32.
I just said that.
No, you said you.
Okay, anyway. What do we do here? We have commonality? Yes. Do we have any data separate? Are we separating the... No, we don't. I think we can...
No, we can hit.
We can both hit this thing.
We're just superly different structured.
Yes. You go big in the last leg. I need to hear about it.
Well, let me fast forward to there so I can tell you why.
Please do.
So the last leg is the maiden 50 going 9 furlongs, and I just thought that there was a lot of very evenly matched horses in here. There are horses that have taken a lot of play before that had some issues. There's a couple first-time geldings, so I wanted to definitely utilize all those. I couldn't chuck anybody out from that race.
Okay. Talking about the first leg, mile on the turf, optional claim in 50 group. These are 3-year-olds and upward who've started for a claim price of 50 or less, which have never won 2 races, or the claiming of 50 and which have never won 2 races. That, my friends, is a condition. 8-5 favorite is the 3 Koi Samui. Phil D'Amato comes off the win, first time versus winners, but most of the contenders here are all coming off first time to go to first time versus winners.
The key with most of the contenders in here is they broke their maiden for 50, whereas Kosemi broke his maiden special weight. But once upon a time in Tipperary, apparently it says he ran in a claiming race. It does say EBF claim. It doesn't actually say how much he was in for. So I'm not sure how that works, but the word claim is in there, which I'm guessing makes him eligible for this particular race. But like I said, most of this group broke their maiden for claiming prices. So the fact that he broke his maiden special weight, I feel like does give him a good advantage in here. Ryan Curtolo going to be aboard again. And I think that this horse has a good running style, relatively close to the pace, which gets him out of some of the traffic issues that horses like our horse Sundown Warren has had the worst traffic issues.
Let's talk about the 6 Bright Leaf. I want to say most experienced versus winners. I wrote X Factor last night. However, never done the turf before.
Yeah, he's by dialed in out of an Oxbow mare. Oxbow definitely gives you some turf influence. It doesn't jump off the page at me as far as being a grass situation goes. And I am a little bit worried just because he's trying something new. We saw him 2 back. He was clear to win that race and just stopped in the middle of the track when he dumped Emily Ellingwood. So like now I'm just leery of him all the time. Like I hope he doesn't do anything stupid today.
Yeah, you got to take a long, hard look at him. 4 horse there. Leok, I've heard this 15 different times. I want to say Aloysius, but I'm not sure. 3-year-old son of Frosted. Tough beat last time out for Doug O'Neill. Yes, this horse is a maiden going against winners.
Yeah, he is a maiden, and I thought that, sometimes you have to do that if you want the distance. It's curious to me this horse got caught going a mile, and they're going to try to stretch him out, but a lot of times that does work successfully if you are the lone speed scenario because everybody else kind of backs off. However, I would like to see the 7 pressing a little bit.
You were talking about the 2 real quickly, or Sundown Warren. Would you have preferred to go farther with the...
Yes, absolutely. I would have preferred to go farther with this horse for sure. I think the farther the better really for Warren, but you get what you can get. And I thought he ran really well last time. He was so game. And he has just gotten some nightmare trips. So I'm just fingers crossed for a clean run today.
Yeah, that AP Indian Medaglia d'Oro says, how far can we go? Let's find out. 10 minutes to post. The pool at 113,144. Welcome back, Zoe Cadman, Millie Ball. Both will be joining us throughout the broadcast. 10 minutes to post. And on behalf of everyone here at First Racing, welcome to a Friday at Santa Anita.
Jay Cohen calls the horses onto the track for our first race. Start of the 50-cent early pick 5. Post time is in 9 minutes.
Welcome back to Santa Anita. Summer-like conditions here for March, about 82 degrees this afternoon, the high. I'm going to take a look at the number 1 in Hess, Scotland, the 3-year-old gelding. I mentioned gelding because in a conversation I just had with Bob Hess, he said it seems the gelding aspect, the lack of equipment, really kicked in over the last couple of weeks. So he expects Scotland to actually step forward off that victory last time. And he'll have to, he's facing winners, but quite a few of these are coming in off their maiden victory. Scotland looked fantastic. Very pretty 3-year-old Mucho Macho Man gelding. And in his last race, it did say that he pulled. In watching back that race, to me, it was more, he was just a little bit bottled up behind a very slow speed and couldn't get into stride. He was just shortening up a little bit behind the pace there. So I think if he gets a good break and is able to get free, we'll see a good performance from Scotland. The other speed in here, I believe, will be coming from Koh Samui, who will be tucked in behind. Phil D'Amato said, I don't think this horse will be sitting that far off the pace. He was quite tactical in his last start, and I would have expect about the same fractions this afternoon. He's trained very forwardly from his last start, which was maiden allowance, and he felt the maiden allowance move into this starter optional claimer was just a little bit softer than moving into a straight open non-winners of one other than. And the 4 in here, Lacoche Alois, this 3-year-old colt for Doug O'Neill. He is still a maiden, but I look how great he looks. I mean, he, to me, knows it's race time. He really was flared up down there in a good way, getting saddled. And I think he's going to be showing speed after speaking to Doug O'Neill. With the rail being out at 30 feet, that will be advantageous to him. And they're going to have the other horse, Riviera Champ, on the outside, just settle back and make a run so the two don't interfere with each other. Race number 1 coming up. It's Scotland for me on top, but I like the 4 underneath.
Just an absolutely glorious afternoon here at Santa Anita Zocapman here on the turf course. Got a good chance to see these guys in the paddock and then warming up. I got a good look at the one, and that's Stotland in here with Flavien Prat, who, by the way, rides 4 of the 9 races today. He was on 5, but 1 scratched, and they are all favorites. So perhaps a big day for Flavien Prat as he does ride Stotland. This horse looked fine warming up, to be perfectly honest. My only knock could be he is a little bit warm. I'm not sure if that is usual for this son of Mucho Macho Man. As far as who looked best for me warming up in the paddock and out here, it's most definitely Sundown Warren. He looked absolutely terrific, dappled out. Abel Cedillo giving a nice warm up. They actually broke the post parade and went out early. Abel usually likes to take his horses away from the pony and did not this day. The horse is pumped. He's ready. He's not getting hot, and I really like the chances purely off the warm-up on the 2 Sundown Warren for trainer Ryan Hansen. As far as the 3 Ko Samu is concerned, definitely cannot talk you off him here currently at 5-2. Everything that you would expect from a Phil D'Amato trainee. Horses on the turf course and coming up to the gate. Good luck.
The horses are approaching the starting gate. Less than 1 minute. It's post time for the Santa Anita Park opener. They're loading in the gate for the first. Stotland and Laoc Aloysius, the first 2 to load. Here's Sundown Warren coming up. Ko Samui. Tribute to a Fleet. Bright Leaf and Riviera Champ will complete the lineup. 2 more. Bright Leaf goes in. Here's Riviera Champ. They're in the gate. And they're off. Ko Samui is quick, so is Sundown Warren along the inside, and Laoc Aloysius. Bright Leaf 4 wide, Riviera Champ outside of him. Then comes Stotland, settled toward the back of the field, and Tribute to a Fleet is at the back. It's Sundown Warren into the first turn, leading the way, opening up almost 2 on Laoc Aloysius in second. Center of the course, Riviera Champ takes third. Ko Samui at the rail in fourth, and Bright Leaf is in between those 2, about 3.5 or so off the lead. Stotland inches up outside of that pair in a gap of 5 to Tribute to a Fleet. They're heading toward the half-mile pole, and it's Sundown Warren in control. Leads it by a length to Laoc Aloysius second. Then Riviera Champ third, followed by Ko Samui at the rail. Bright Leaf still between rivals, 2.5 or 3 off the lead. Stotland yet to be called on, 5 in front of Tribute to a Fleet. Around the far turn, Sundown Warren's been there every step of the way. Laoc Aloysius presses second. Ko Samui at the rail. Stotland inching up on the outside of Riviera Champ. Another 2. Bright Leaf has lost some ground, and Tribute to a Fleet. They're at the top of the stretch. Laoc Aloysius takes the lead. Ko Samui on the outside's had a good trip and comes to challenge, and Stotland is finishing with interest. Bright Leaf and Sundown Warren continues to fight on. It's Ko Samui confronted by Stotland on the outside, and Stotland goes on by to win it by about a length. Ko Samui second. Bright Leaf picked it up a bit in the stretch third. Then Sundown Warren and Laoc Aloysius. Number 1, Stotland was first. 3, Koh Samui second. 6, Bright Leaf was third. 2, Sundown Warren fourth. 4, Leok Aloysius fifth. 13624. In the Run Happy Winners Circle, number 1, Stotland, a 3-year-old chestnut gelding by Mucho Macho Man, out of No Spite Intended, owned by Featherston, Lambert, Underhill et al. Trained by Bob Hess Jr. and ridden by Flavien Pratt. Stotland was bred in Kentucky by Cowboy Stables. Running time 136.08 seconds. In the second no high 5 wagering, scratch number 2 every step of the way. Post time in 26 minutes. Riviera Champ. They're in the gate. And they're off. Ko Samui is quick, so is Sundown Warren along the inside, and Leok Aloysius. Brightleaf 4 wide, Riviera Champ outside of him. Then comes Stotland, settled toward the back of the field, and Tribute to a Fleet is at the back. It's Sundown Warren into the first turn, leading the way, opening up almost 2 on Leok Aloysius in second. Center of the course, Riviera Champ takes third. Ko Samui at the rail in fourth, and Brightleaf is in between those two, about 3.5 or so off the lead. Stotland inches up outside of that pair in a gap of 5 to Tribute to a Fleet. They're heading toward the half-mile pole, and it's Sundown Warren in control. Leads it by a length to Leok Aloysius second. Then Riviera Champ third, followed by Ko Samui at the rail. Brightleaf still between rivals, 2.5 or 3 off the lead. Stotland yet to be called on, 5 in front of Tribute to a Fleet. Around the far turn, Sundown Warren's been there every step of the way. Leok Aloysius presses second. Ko Samui at the rail. Stotland inching up on the outside of Riviera Champ. Another 2. Brightleaf has lost some ground, and Tribute to a Fleet. They're at the top of the stretch. Leok Aloysius takes the lead. Ko Samui on the outside's had a good trip and comes to challenge, and Stotland is finishing with interest. Brightleaf and Sundown Warren continues to fight on. It's Ko Samui confronted by Stotland on the outside, and Stotland goes on by to win it by about a length. Ko Samui second. Brightleaf picked it up a bit in the stretch third. Then Sundown Warren and Leok Aloysius.
It takes many forms, often revealing itself in dramatic fashion, forever reshaping how we see the world around us, unearthing something deeper within that awakens us to the truth. There is so much more out there yet to be discovered. Yamava Resort and Casino at San Manuel.